So in case you didn't know this about me, I grew up an overweight, unathletic kid. Sure, I was on baseball teams and soccer teams, but I was more the kid that played with action figures and video games and kind of just hung out. And I got picked on a lot because of that. I always had bruises, around my nipples. People pinching like, oh, bitch tits, you have bitch tits. And I was a punk when I was a kid too, so some of it was probably warranted. But I got picked on a lot. I got a lot of negative attention for it. I was never, I always had all my friends, because again, I was in sports. So a lot of my friends were the stud athletes and the gifted ones, and the ones that would make the all-star team. And I think I made the all-stars once, but made the all-star team and got the girls and all that kind of stuff. And I was always the one getting negative attention for my body, for being overweight and not like very physically impressive at all. And that really led me down some pretty bad roads. I always say I kind of grew like a Christmas tree. I would widen out and then slim up, and then widen out and then slim up, like as I grew. But always kind of struggled with being overweight. And, as I got into high school, I got skinnier, not fitter, just skinnier. And then I started getting a little fitter, and all of a sudden, a little more athletic, and I started getting more positive attention from girls, from just people in general. And, long story short, in high school, I was relatively successful as a pitcher, was in initial talks with some major league teams and some D1 colleges. And that all came to a crashing halt when I suffered a 75% tear in my labrum. For those that don't know, that's the cushion in your shoulder joint. And baseball dreams were over. And all that led into fighting, into mixed martial arts. And that was the first time that I got really lean, but not in a healthy way, because I didn't know any better. I was a brand new trainer at the time, and I had 10 weeks to cut about 30 pounds. And I didn't know any better, so I just starved myself. Here's a typical training day when I was in fight camp. I would wake up, eat nothing, maybe have a glass of water, go run 2 miles in the hills or on a hilly road. My breakfast would consist of maybe 2 ounces of chicken breast, 2 or 3 egg whites, half slice of toast. I would train clients, and then I would have a little shake as a snack. And then I would have a 2-hour extremely intense workout, which would include, I'd do a set of pull-ups and then sprint the stairs for a minute. Do that for 5 sets and do that for like 10 different exercises, and then do 20 minutes of intense intervals in the elliptical. And then 3 nights a week on top of that, I also had a 2-hour fight practice where we would do really intense workouts as well. And my dinner a lot of times would be romaine lettuce, Italian vinaigrette, and a scoop of whey protein and water. And I think you can imagine the kind of really poor eating habits that encouraged. But here's the deal. I got to this place where even though I was skinny, I was lean. For the first time, I had abs. For the first time, my love handles were pretty much non-existent, that I always struggled with. And I felt really good about myself, and I got a lot of positive attention from that. And for the first time, my self-esteem was an all-time high. But the irony is, on the inside, I was very unhealthy. I can remember at the peak of my unhealth, my poor mental health, I would make up excuses to why I couldn't go to barbecues. Barbecues are one of my favorite things in the world. I love barbecues. I would say, I got practice. Oh, I'm tired, this, that, and the other. So I can't go. I got homework. When in reality, I just didn't want to derail my diet. So I was in this place where it mattered more to me to be a little leaner than make lifelong memories with my friends and family. That's the place I was at. I can remember one time I was playing Mario Kart with my brother-in-law, and we both had a beer. I remember it was a Bud Light. It was in one of those like blue metal cans. And I drank the beer the entire time. I could not wait for him to leave so I could go out and run. and burn it off. And that's exactly what I did. I was in this place where I couldn't even enjoy a beer. And even after I even after I stopped fighting, I lived and died by the scale. And my number was 190 back then. I'm about 200, 205 now, but my number was 190. And here's what I mean. And this is how messed up I was. If I weighed 189 or less, even if it was 189.8, I felt like the king of the world. I felt so good about myself. I felt like I was doing really well. Couldn't wait to work out again. Just really doing good. If I was 190.5, I felt like a fat piece of shit. And here's the crazy thing. Here's how powerful our minds are. It even changed how I saw myself in the mirror. Like literally within a pound of a difference would dictate how I saw myself in the mirror. The same reflection. I wasn't looking in a funhouse mirror. And I was really enslaved to that for a very long time. And I felt like I wasn't good enough. That I wouldn't be accepted. That I wouldn't, especially I struggle with like a hairline thing too. So this was just one more insecurity, and my body weight and my body image was something I clung to because it made me feel good about myself. It was one of the only things that made me feel good about myself. But the irony is I wasn't even able to enjoy it because I was so just mentally sick. And I would, on those days that I would weigh more than 190, I would pretty much starve myself again, do hours of cardio. And you guys, if that's you need to know that's not going to last. That is no way. That's not what exercise and eating right is for. It's not to develop food anxiety to where you can't even go out to a fucking dinner with your friends and enjoy yourself. That's not the point of health and fitness. The point of health and fitness is to live an active, more vibrant life. And guess what? You don't need a six-pack for that. In fact, I've been in this industry for a long time, and I had an opportunity to kind of see how the sausage is made and the dark side of being lean. And I'm not saying that this is a package deal, that when you get lean, this is going to happen. But first of all, having abs doesn't make you a better person. It doesn't get you very far in life. It may get you more likes and followers on Instagram and TikTok, but that's about it. You can be perfectly healthy without having ab definition. And I'll be honest with you guys, I'm preaching this to myself too, because I still struggle with this. Even though I've gotten better, I hardly weigh myself anymore. I really try to stay focused on my mobility and more my performance, and things I can do with my body. But I'd be lying if I told you that how I look doesn't matter anymore, because it absolutely does. In fact, I look in the mirror every night. I at least glance at myself right before I get in the shower. Every single night. It's like this chronic thing that I do. I flex my abs and I check to see if I have ab definition. And to this day, if I have a little more ab definition, I feel better about myself. If I have a little less, I feel worse about myself. I still struggle with that. I turn to the side to see where my love handle thing is at. I still struggle with it. But I think that one thing that's helped me a lot is relying more on what objective scientific data has proven. And here's a couple of those things. What science has proven is it's physically impossible to gain body fat in one day. You can't do it. You can gain body weight in one day, but you can't gain body fat in one day. So if you're sitting here, you really want that pizza, but you're afraid you'll get fat from it. First of all, I don't fully believe this, because again, I still struggle with body image, but I want to believe this more and more. That extra 5 pounds of fluff that you're carrying around is a symbol of the good times you're enjoying with your friends and your family. Because when you want to get really lean, you have to get pretty selfish. I've been pretty close to some bodybuilders and physique competitors, and you got to say no to a lot of things that you ordinarily would say yes to. So that's one of the things that science has taught me is, and I've been able to cling to objective data instead of ever-changing emotions, is you can't gain body fat overnight. And so what that did for me is, instead of either just white knuckling, right? I don't have that pizza. And either I would not have it and then feel good about myself, which is weird, or I would black out and binge and have an entire pizza, and then feel horrible about myself. And I couldn't wait to get in the gym to burn it off. Neither one of those are good. That food anxiety is just not a good thing to be on. Nowadays, and then also what that would do is, again, I'd feel terrible about myself. And especially if this landed on a Thursday or Friday, I would just go, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to start again on Monday. And then I would just binge the whole weekend and undo all the hard work I've been doing. And then feel terrible about myself and feel like I'm starting from square one. So if that's you, you need to know this is what freed me from that, is understanding that scientific data has proven you can't gain body fat in one night, in one day. Because if that were true, let's all eat salads and we'll have six-packs afterwards, right? That's ludicrous. That doesn't make sense. And so now if I enjoy something, I have that moment. My mind still wants to go there to beat myself up, but I remind myself, nope, you can't gain body fat in one night. Just get back on track the next meal and you'll be fine. And the crazy thing is, it made all those junk foods less forbidden. That's the other thing. And the less, because correct me if I'm wrong, you've probably experienced this too. You make something forbidden, what do you want? What can you not stop thinking about? That same thing that you just made forbidden, right? For me, it was pizza and frozen yogurt. Those were my two things, or Ben and Jerry's. As soon as I stopped making those things forbidden, all of a sudden I didn't feel like I needed to have them all the time. And I certainly didn't need to have a whole pint of ice cream or a whole pizza. I could just enjoy a few slices, remind myself you can't gain body fat in one night, and get back on track, breakfast the next day like it never happened. And while I still struggle with body image, I still do, you guys. And I'm sharing this mainly because women, you guys are I would say better at talking about these things, but I think it's just as prevalent with men. We look at the Lou Ferrignos, the Chris Evans, and we forget, first of all, they don't even look like that all the time. Chris Evans doesn't look that jacked as it is Captain America. Hugh Jackman, same thing. They may be in good shape year-round, but they don't look like that year-round. It's rare you're going to find someone that really looks like that year-round. And here's the sneaky thing about social media. I have seen when people will get really lean, hire a content creator and a photographer and a videographer to capture a whole bunch of content. They'll change clothes to make it look like it's a different day. They'll do a different workout, and then they'll release that content all year to make you think they're that lean all year. When in actuality, they're not, because some of them will slip and they'll post a picture of themselves to their story, and what the hell, they have the inner tube around their midsection. This should not come as a surprise to you. Don't believe everything you see and hear on social media, okay? People will do, just like you see athletes cheat and do whatever it takes to get a paycheck, at the lower level, people will do whatever it takes sometimes to get more followers, especially to monetize their channels. But anyway, I wanted to share this because I really feel like us guys need to be more vocal about this. It's okay. Eating disorders, which I had a full-blown eating disorder and body dysmorphia to the nth degree. We don't talk about it. And things that we don't talk about are really, really hard to grow from. They're really hard to grow from because it's just you. It's just your own perspective and your own knowledge base. And until you reach out, you're never going to be encouraged to think otherwise and to really think differently about your body and about food. So I hope this helps. I think, that's why I joined, that's why I started this coaching group, Truth Equals Freedom, because the truth sets you free. And I hope that little by little, the more videos like this you watch and listen to, the more you'll be set free from the lies that you've been led to believe about yourself, that you're not good enough, you're not acceptable if you're not lean, and that you can absolutely undo all your progress in one night. Those are both just flat out lies, you guys. To close, I will quote the late and great John Candy as his character as Irv Blitzer in Cool Runnings. So if you're not familiar with the movie, 90s classic, by the way, true story about the Jamaican bobsled team. He's talking to, I think his name's Doris. I haven't seen that movie in a long time. It's the lead guy, the main guy, the driver of the bobsled. And Irv Blitzer, if you're not familiar, he cheated in the Olympics, I think in the 80s. And he added weights to his sled to make it go faster. And he won the gold. And obviously they found out and stripped him of all his medals and banned him from the Olympics and everything. And so him and Doris are talking about the gold medal. And, Doris asked him a question, Coach, how will I know if I'm good enough? And I will never forget this line, and I use it all the time, and it's giving me chills to think about. John Candy looks at him and he says, if you're not good enough without it, you'll never be good enough with it. And I would extend that same thing to your body, because getting leaner doesn't necessarily make you more insecure, but it absolutely can if you go into it with the wrong mindset, thinking you'll feel better about yourself. Because you guys, from personal experience, it's an insatiable appetite. You will never be lean enough. You will never be developed enough. So get off that train now if you're on that. And instead, look at all the other markers of health. Your enjoyment, your ability to go on a hike and not be sore for 6 weeks, your ability to work out hard and lift weights and use your body confidently. And yeah, take your shirt off at the beach confidently. Like, those are good things. But you cannot live and die by the scale in your body composition. So I hope this helps. I love you guys. As always, reach out with any questions. If this is like me too, I struggle with this, please like and comment and share. I think it's important that we get this message out, especially to you men. Let's share. Let's be more vulnerable. See you next time.